I bet you didn't know that you can win your preliminary hearing even if your charges didn't get dismissed. What do I mean by that? Let's talk about it. In other videos, I've talked about a proceeding called the preliminary hearing. And if you're facing felony charges in California, you probably know, or you're about to know, that a preliminary hearing is a really important stage in the defense of your case. At a preliminary hearing, the district attorney has to prove in front of the court that there is probable or sufficient cause to justify the charges that you're currently facing. The logic behind this, as I understand it, is that felony charges are more serious. And so if the prosecution wants to actually put these charges in front of a jury and make you stand trial, it's not enough that they just file the charges against you. They actually have to do some sort of presentation in open court to justify why they bothered filing those charges. That presentation is called the preliminary hearing. Now, at a preliminary hearing, it can be a very emotional and very thought-intensive process. It may be the moment where you, as the defendant in your own case, actually see the witnesses testify against you. Some of them might be the witnesses who are directly accusing you. Some of them might be police officers who took other people's statements. And these people you might remember from the time of your arrest or investigation. And there might be some witnesses who you've never seen at all who might be testifying as experts. It can be very hard to sit through this proceeding as they start saying all these bad things about you that incriminate you. And it's only natural to feel this way. And on top of that, it's very natural to feel upset when the judge delivers the final decision, as what happens in a lot of preliminary hearings. I believe there's probable sufficient cause to believe that a crime is committed and that the defendant is guilty. It feels like a loss. But wait, this doesn't actually have to be a total loss. In the big picture of things, a preliminary hearing is the best and sometimes only opportunity to test the state of the government's case in open court. Why do I emphasize that? Because this is the time for them to present their witnesses in open court, actually testifying under oath. What does this mean? These people have to go through the rigmarole of actually saying their side of the story on the record, under oath in open court, with not just the DA asking them questions, but your lawyer asking them questions as well. There's a couple different ways to handle a preliminary hearing. There's many different goals, as I discussed in other videos, but one important goal is this: to test the state of the DA's evidence, to expose weaknesses in the case. If the case is not settling before a preliminary hearing, as many cases do, the preliminary hearing might be worthwhile to actually demonstrate that the government's case is not nearly as strong as they thought it was. And in fact, maybe they ought to reconsider keeping the case alive, even if a judge is going to state that they made the very low burden of probable cause. That's the thing you also have to know. Probable cause or sufficient cause is a very low burden for the DA to prove. More often than not, they meet that burden. But in the act of having to do this presentation, they expose their witnesses to you and your lawyer's questioning, to various arguments. And it really can make and break the difference in how much the case is worth, what kind of offers you can get. And also, if you're dead set on going to trial, what's the point of going to trial if you don't have a preliminary hearing transcript to work off of? Even though your case might be getting held to answer, as they say, at a preliminary hearing, this doesn't mean you've lost. It may, in fact, just be one of the first and most important steps towards an eventual victory. Always think about the big picture, especially when headed into preliminary hearing in your felony case. Thanks, and stay safe out there.